Let's begin. But let me warn you, this video is not going to be comfortable. It's not going to be soft, and it's certainly not what you want to hear. But it is exactly what you need to hear. Since childhood, you've been trained to look outward, to find blame, to assign names and faces to your suffering. And yes, often that name is your mother's. But here's what almost no one dares to tell you. It's not your mother who's still holding you back. It's what your mind did with her. This isn't about blame or judgment. It's not an attack. It's a truth so uncomfortable that most people will spend their entire lives avoiding it. Your mother lives in your unconscious long after she's left the room. You've tried to move on. You've chased peace. But peace won't come while you're still trapped in a war you haven't even named. And what war is that? The war against an image, a figure that's not flesh and blood anymore, but a shadow, an archetype that lodged itself inside you before you even had the words to define the world around you. And the hardest part? That shadow doesn't leave on its own. Carl Jung called it the mother complex, but don't confuse that with just another psychological label. It's an emotional prison, one with invisible bars. It's the voice that judges you in silence, the emptiness nothing seems to fill, that aching hunger for approval you've carried since you were a child. And the most painful part is, it's not even yours. It's inherited. It's an echo, a mark on the soul, carved so deeply that it feels permanent. So how do you heal something like that? This is where the real work begins, because as long as you keep seeing your mother as an all-powerful figure, whether you're idolizing her or blaming her, you're not actually seeing her. You're seeing a myth, a projection, an image distorted by years of unmet needs, silent wounds, and unspoken resentment. And the hardest truth? That myth still runs your life far more than you're willing to admit. Every decision you make chasing approval, every relationship that crumbles because you're waiting to be saved, every time you can't say no and set boundaries, all of it is rooted far deeper than you think. It's rooted in your childhood, in the glance that never came, in the embrace you were desperate for but never got, in the words that should have been spoken but never were. And now, here you are, an adult on the outside, but deep inside, you're still that child, the one hoping, just hoping, that Mom will finally say, everything's going to be okay. But here's the most brutal part. That moment is never going to come. Healing isn't waiting for her to change. Healing is accepting that she might never change. Healing is stopping the wait. And that is devastating. You've been told that forgiveness is the key, that understanding her is the way forward, that you should walk a mile in her shoes. And yes, those things can help, but only if you do the most important thing first. You have to look inward. You have to take full responsibility for your wound. Because the truth is, it's no longer hers. It's yours. Only yours. And no one is coming to heal it for you. Now tell me this. How many times have you caught yourself behaving exactly like her? How many times have you said or done the very things you once swore you'd never repeat? That's the trap. The complex isn't just emotional. It's behavioral. It inhabits you. It drives you. And if you don't become aware of it, it will make you its reflection. The pattern repeats itself again and again until someone finds the courage to break it. And breaking it hurts, because it means killing the illusion. It means giving up the hope that one day what didn't happen will magically happen. It means facing the truth. There will be no perfect closure, no magical repair. Your childhood is gone, And the comfort you didn't receive, you'll have to learn how to give it to yourself. Are you willing to do that? Are you ready to stop waiting to be loved the way you needed and start loving yourself the way you deserve? Because that is the doorway. There is no other. In Jungian terms, the mother isn't just a person. It's an archetype, a symbol. She represents origin, safety, emotional nourishment. But she can also represent suffocation, dependency, the fear of being your authentic self. And when that archetype remains unintegrated, it becomes a shadow you project onto everything. Your partners, your bosses, your friends. You find yourself constantly expecting someone to rescue you, to understand you without words, to take care of you without conditions. But that's not love. That's lack. And lack cannot be filled by another person. It can only be filled by truth, by awareness, by courage. The first step? Stop idealizing her. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't a goddess. But she also wasn't the monster your pain sometimes paints her to be. She was human, wounded, carrying her own invisible wars. She did what she could with what she had. And sometimes, what she had wasn't nearly enough. That doesn't excuse the hurt, but it does explain it. And in that understanding, something softens, not as a forced act of forgiveness, but as a liberation that arises when you finally see clearly. Because idealization is just as toxic as resentment. Both keep you trapped. Both keep you away from what's real. And the reality is this: you no longer need a mother. You need a stronger version of yourself, more conscious, more compassionate. And that version won't show up on its own. You have to build it. Want to know how? Start by watching your reactions. Every time you feel rejected, ask yourself, who am I really seeing right now? The person in front of me, or the wound I haven't healed yet? Every time you demand unconditional love, ask, do I want love, or do I want to repair for what I never got? And right there, in those questions, is where the real work begins. Every time you abandon yourself just so someone else won't, stop and ask, who abandoned me first? Healing isn't linear. It's not pretty. It's not peaceful. Healing is a descent, an unsettling journey into your own personal hell. It's a raw, uncomfortable conversation with your inner child. It's opening the boxes where you buried your memories, digging them up, feeling them fully, and then, only then, letting them go. And yes, sometimes your inner child just cries. But other times, it screams. It sabotages everything. It lashes out in anger. Why? Because that child has been waiting far too long to be heard. So do it. Listen. Don't silence it with feel-good affirmations. Don't try to cover it up with superficial spirituality. Give that child space. Ask what they needed back then. Then, give it to them yourself. Because self-compassion isn't weakness. It's medicine. And when everything else has failed, it's the only remedy left that works. And to practice it, you'll need courage. Because part of you has learned to hate yourself, to blame yourself, to punish yourself the same way others once did. But you can break that cycle. Re-educating yourself emotionally isn't about reading self-help books. It's about learning to see yourself differently, about responding differently. It's about stopping the endless search for motherly love in all the wrong places. Because here's the brutal truth. The world is not going to give you what you didn't receive. It's not designed to heal your childhood wounds. The world will demand from you, judge you, overlook you, and in the middle of that chaos, you will have to build yourself up. Emotional freedom begins the moment you stop repeating the same patterns, when you choose differently, when you finally realize you're not 5 years old anymore, You're not trapped in that house. You don't need someone's touch to feel worthy. You don't need permission to be yourself. But part of you still believes you do. That part is still waiting, still hoping, still silently begging. That part isn't to blame, but you are responsible for healing it. Do it. Not tomorrow. Not when you think you're ready. Do it now. Because if you wait for readiness, you'll never begin. Healing doesn't show up when everything is calm. It comes in the middle of the storm, in the noise, in the fear. And when it does, it doesn't feel like you expected. It feels like loss, like emptiness, like silence. Because healing also means letting go of the version of yourself that you've always known. It means saying goodbye to the victim role. It means no longer waiting and instead taking action. Does it hurt? Yes. But staying where you are hurts even more. So look at yourself, really look, and ask, what part of my suffering still belongs to that inner figure I call mother? How much longer will I let it control me? Make peace. Not with her, with yourself. Because at the end of the day, the most important mother in your life is not the one who raised you. It's the one you choose to become for yourself. And that mother? She hasn't been born yet. Now that you're here, after daring to face what others spend lifetimes avoiding, let me take you deeper still, because there's something we haven't touched yet. A darker layer, hidden, but immensely powerful. Invisible loyalty. Yes, you heard that right. A loyalty you never chose, but one that leads you like a thread woven into your soul. It doesn't matter how far you get, how many books you read, how many therapy sessions you attend. If you don't understand this truth, you'll keep circling back to the same place. Do you want to know the secret trap? Here it is. Your unconscious believes that if you surpass your mother, you betray her. That's how twisted the game is. And don't try to understand it with logic. This isn't about reason. It's imprinted deep within your emotional system, because you grew up believing your identity was tied to hers. That if she suffered, you had to suffer too. That if she believed something, you had to carry it. Without even knowing, you made a pact, a silent vow, an invisible promise that says, I will not be better than you, Mom. I will not be freer than you. I won't fully heal unless you heal first. That's the prison. And the scariest part? That prison looks like love. This isn't about hate. It's not about resentment. It's about unconscious loyalty that binds you to her pain, her frustrations, her limitations. That's why you keep repeating stories that don't make sense. That's why every time you get close to something bigger, something better, you sabotage it. Because somewhere deep inside, a voice whispers, if I'm happy and she wasn't, I'm being disloyal. But here's the harsh truth. Your pain doesn't honor her. Your stagnation doesn't save her. Your unhappiness doesn't heal her. So why are you still carrying what was never yours to carry? There's a scene that plays out in countless wounded souls. The child who refuses to fully live, just so they won't hurt the feelings of a mother who's no longer here, or who never really was. As if deep down, they want to say, look, Mom, I suffer too. You're not alone in your sadness. And that is what's slowly killing you. The real betrayal is not in leaving her story behind. The real betrayal is in continuing to relive it. Because if you truly love her, if you truly want to free yourself without dishonoring her, then you must understand one thing. To honor the mother is to outgrow her, not as an act of rebellion, not as rejection, but as evolution. She gave you life. Now it's your turn to multiply it, not shrink it. Turn the pain she passed down into something new, into awareness, into transformation, into an authentic life, a life that finally, truly belongs to you. But for that, you need to break the secret vow, the one you made before you could even speak, the one that says, "I won't be freer than you." Break that promise, not with anger, but with love. Say it silently, even if she's no longer here or can't hear you. "Mum, thank you for what you could give me, but now I'm walking a different path." And that path isn't about resentment, it's about your freedom. Because as long as you remain trapped in that hidden loyalty, everything becomes repetition. You'll repeat her fears, her frustrations, her way of loving, her inability to set boundaries, her need to be accepted, her guilt, her sacrifice, her pain, and you'll do it without even realizing it. Have you noticed how many of your life decisions have been shaped by that shadow? Maybe that's why you can't handle rejection. Maybe that's why you feel guilty when things go well for you. Maybe that's why you choose partners who make you feel small. Not because you're weak, but because you're being loyal. But that loyalty has a steep price, your life. And if you dare to question it, to look it in the eye, something shifts. A strange silence appears. A void opens, because for the first time, you're separating your identity from hers.